Real close. Hey, folks. Thanks for
Live.
tuning in to Wild Cards, our occasional show that talks about all things Savage Worlds. Here is our musical intro. That music will go on a lot longer than I thought it would. Hey, folks. Thanks for tuning in. I'm your host, Mike Lafferty. Here's my co host, Ross Watson. Ross, how are you doing?
I'm good. Thanks for having us.
Oh, that's good. When below us on the Brady Bunch grid is Mr. Daryl Hardy, who's here to talk about his Savage Worlds Kickstarter for a cosmic horror micro setting called Under the Pyramid. Wait, Beneath the Pyramid's Shadow. Did I get that right?
Yes.
Okay,
Pyramid
cool,
Shadow,
cool.
which which is a fantastic title the first time you hear it, but you have to keep saying it over and over again. Like, that is really a mouthful. Like,
There's a
well,
pyramid. There's a shadow. We're under the shadow.
Pyramid Shadow, right? Like BPS. I don't know. I'm still workshopping it.
All right, I've made up a tiny URL that doesn't quite have the right verbiage, but it does point to your Kickstarter. And for those who might be listening to us on iTunes, tinyurl.com/under the pyramid will take you right to Beneath the Pyramid's Shadow. I will share your Kickstarter. Daryl, tell us all about the cosmic horror goodness of Beneath the Pyramid Shadow.
Sure. Well, it is a micro setting for Savage Worlds, first and foremost, and it's set in modern day, or actually 2 years after the modern day. The premise is that it is um, so it's 2 years ago from where the game begins. This massive pyramid appeared in the sky, unleashed a wave of psychic energy that killed millions, turned thousands into mindless drones, and awakened psychic powers in countless others. It disrupted the pyramid, disrupted satellite communications and electronics off and on, um, and just kind of ushered in a new era of pre-apocalypse. So this is not a this is I call it a cosmic horror apocalypse, but
Mhm.
it is not post-apocalyptic. It is apocalyptic. So we got the pyramid. Civilization is like in the process of collapsing in the wake of this calamity, and so there's monsters and weirdness which I can tell you about, and the heroes are the people who are trying to maintain some semblance of order and civilization and help people out in this time of darkness.
So,
Oh,
longtime listeners know I've been involved in a lot of Savage World stuff. And I'm here to tell you, Daryl Hardy is absolutely one of the best Savage Worlds writers out there. This
Aw.
guy is creator of Lankmar, Savage Tales of the Thieves Guild. He did Iron Gate for the last Parsec. He and I worked together on projects like The Secret World and Starbreaker. So when I say Daryl knows his stuff, he definitely knows his stuff.
Oh, thank you. I like to think so. Yeah.
well, nice. You
Uh,
got some really cool looking art on Kickstarter. Can I ask who your artist is?
yes. Brian Yashka
Hmm.
does this fantastic photo collage stuff. You can check him out. There's a link down at the bottom of the bottom of the thing, right? I put a link to his portfolio, and he
Hmm.
does like this style of stuff, mostly like dark fantasy. He did a lot of stuff on. I'm spacing it now, but he does a lot of his own OSR stuff, and he's done a Western game, which I'm totally spacing on the title of. He also does a lot of writing. The guy's super talented. He does fantastic stuff. I found him on Twitter, started following him. I'm stalking him everywhere now. And so when this project came up, and I'm like, wait, I could actually hire him to do stuff. Um, and so it was kind of a no brainer actually, because I long admirer of his stuff, and when I saw an opportunity to yes, there we go, that's his stuff. Uh, to like try and get him to help out on something. I was like, yes.
So your project. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, wow, that's creepy. Go ahead, Ross.
No, that art is. I will admit the art is super creepy and well done. So definitely check that out. This project was, I want to point out, featured in the licensee spotlight for Pinnacle. Are you going to be on Savage Universe?
Not that. Not at this time.
You should reach out to Savage Universe because you'd be a shoo-in over there.
Okay. If they got a slot.
So currently the Kickstarter is got 16 days left to go, and your goal is only $100. So you've passed it.
Let's hear it for setting the bar low. Yeah. Well, this is my first time. This is my first solo Kickstarter, and I wanted to set the bar low enough that I was pretty sure I was going to hit it. I mean, I don't want to. I mean, stuff happens, and my name's not really that big. I'm like, I can probably get 20 people to back it. I could probably, at $6, I could probably do that. But just to go through the process, myself, because I've helped with other Kickstarters, like I say, Starbreaker and such, but it's never been, my baby. So like, I actually want to go through the process and make all the mistakes. I want to get my mistakes out of the way.
Well, don't make all of the mistakes.
Right.
Just keep your mistakes like in moderation, because there's a lot of Kickstarter mistakes out there. We could do a whole show on just Kickstarter mistakes. Actually, we should pencil that in.
Yes. Fair enough. All right. Yes. So we'll hopefully I've avoided the biggest ones. But any remaining mistakes they make will be at a small scale.
Well, I admire the goal to keep things simple on the first Kickstarter, because simple is good. I have a veteran of many Kickstarter programs. Lafferty has also done a lot of Kickstarters. I bet he would also agree keeping it simple is good, right?
I'm a big fan of keeping it simple and avoiding stretch goals as extra swag as much as possible. Robert Wilson asks, wait, is there going to be character art as a tier?
There's only one tier.
No, there's only one tier. Don't tempt me. Honestly, as I'm seeing the number creeping up, I'm like, I should talk to Brian about getting some more art in here, because I wasn't able to commission a lot because it was all just on my own dime, what I could weasel away from the grocery fund to get some of Brian's art in there. But I'm like, I can get some more. No stretch goals. No stretch goals. You said no stretch goals. If we can, no more tiers. Don't get cocky.
Why don't you talk about some of the highlights of it? Like what is? We know it's cosmic horror. We know there's a pyramid. We know there's a shadow. Give me some raw meat to like sink my teeth into for this project.
If I can just piggyback on that, do we have Lovecraft vibes here?
Not specifically. I mean, the cosmic horror aspect of it is the weird alien. I mean, there's a pyramid that breaks all laws of physics, and that it is constantly on the eastern horizon. No matter where you are, it's on the eastern horizon. Like say, it blocks out the sun during the sunrise, and it reflects the light, the color of dried blood at night during the sunset, as it looms there on the eastern horizon. It's just kind of emanating this the bad vibes. There are monsters. With the arrival of the pyramid, it brought in what I call the dark wave, which is a like rust-colored fog that appears every so often, and it'll just kind of Silent Hill style rolls into a place, and with it comes monsters. And so anybody who's caught out there, the fog itself is very detrimental. It can mutate you, it can burn you. There'll be a whole cable you can roll on for the horrible things that'll happen to you if you get caught in the fog.
Don't get caught in the fog. Got it.
Don't get caught in the fog. And while you're out there, you are not alone. There are things, chittering and climbing and and attacking in the fog as well. And sometimes they're still there when the fog recedes. The fog also brings like fungus that comes with it as the pyramid sort of is terraforming the world. And it will also leave other artifacts from other worlds, bits of structures and architecture and objects of alien origin and power, which becomes part of the plot hooks as you're trying to track down these artifacts. It's the stuff that's there.
Who do we play in this game?
The good guys, of course, the heroes. The default assumption is that you're members of the Resistance, and Resistance is more of a philosophy than an actual organization. So you don't get ranks in the Resistance or anything. But part of the setting, with the slow collapse of civilization, communities are becoming more isolated, more paranoid, and the people who actively serve the pyramid are stepping into roles of power.
The cultists.
Yes. The place, it is chock full of cultists. Don't call them that, though. They hate that. And while there are numerous cults, and they don't all agree with each other, but they all serve the pyramid one way or another. And many of them have stepped into positions of power. And so authority is much more localized and much more authoritarian. And so there's kind of this dystopian, authoritarian dystopian thing, living under the pyramid's shadow. And so they're members of, let's say, the Resistance, in that because they're trying to actually help people and fight against the cultists and fight against the monsters and try to make maybe move people around, because as everything is slowly falling into ruin, and some of this is from the dark wave. As it becomes more common and more prevalent in a certain area, that area becomes uninhabitable. People have to move. They have to go somewhere, and so the players will help those people survive as long as they can, help them move when they need to, and help defend them against cultists and monsters.
Now, the way this is reading to me, it's actually really cool, because it's happened, like, this is 2 years ago when the pyramid arose. And long distance communications out, satellites don't work, airwaves are full of guttural grunts and moans. I mean, that's scary. Like, that is the collapse of civilization. And so we're fighting the cultists, I guess. Is that the plan of the Resistance? That's what they do.
Yes. Yeah. Well, one of my big inspirations for it is Half-Life 2.
Oh, good game.
So remember, I don't know if you remember, I mean, it's 20 years old now at this point, but my son was playing it a couple of years ago, and I remember, like, wow, this is really good. And that opening, I don't know, 20% of it or something, where you're in City 17, which is this, kind of, brutalist architecture, kind of a generic Eastern European city, but it's, this full occupied force of, they're humans, probably, but they're, but you've got the Big Brother TV screens are talking about our benevolent benefactors from above. They're here to save us. We need to work with them. Please cooperate with the man with the gun, or we will kill you.
All right, so that's the vibe that you're going for.
Yeah.
I see there's something called the Awakened.
Yes.
Tell us about those.
Okay. So as part of the arrival, like I said, it sent out this massive wave of psychic energy that awakened thousands of people to psychic powers. And the twist, so that it exists as both an NPC, a monstrous thing. You got to watch out for those crazy psychic people out there. And many of them are crazy, but it is also a arcane background that players can take. And so it's fairly limited. It's not like you're a full-blown wizard, but more like stuff that falls within the normal psychic wheelhouse, of telepathy, a little bit of telekinesis, maybe. It's more
that kind of thing.
Yeah. So it's a little more subtle. And the twist, the downside is that because it comes from the pyramid, every time you use the power, you are strengthening your connection to the pyramid and to all the pyramid's disciples. And so you mechanically, whenever you get a raise on your psychic usage roll, it sends off a flare to all the other awakened in the general vicinity that there's someone over there using powers. I wonder if they're on our side.
I like it. In a way, it reminds me of how witchcraft works in Accursed. That's really neat. So it says here that the Resistance has 3 main goals. Do you want to talk about those main goals?
Sure.
Obviously, one of them is defeating the minions of the pyramid and the cults and stuff like that. But there's 2 other ones as well.
Yes, and that's probably. Are you calling that survival or freedom?
I just basically outlined freedom. So
okay, that was freedom. All right, fine. Then the other is survival, because like I said, it's not actually post-apocalyptic. Actually, some parts of the world are. So the idea is that the apocalypse doesn't arrive everywhere all at once. It comes in waves, and like a wave, it will like pool in some areas more than others. So while some areas will have like the City 17 Half-Life 2 vibe, where it's basically a normal city. You're just living under occupation and people vanish and this wave appears every now and then. But as long as you keep your head down and do what the glorious masters say, you'll be okay, probably. But further out in the outskirts, you have places that are like surrounded by by alien mushrooms, or they're surrounded by smaller pyramids that have grown up out of the ground, and they're more isolated, and food is running out, and they need supplies, and there's bandits on the road, and even further out, you do have actual post-apocalyptic wasteland, where it's been completely overrun by alien vegetation. There's monsters everywhere, but there are still people there who need to get out, or people there who for whatever reason can't leave. They need supplies. And so one of the goals of the players and the Resistance is to help these people out, bring with medicine, food, supplies, moving people around, whatever they need to do. Then the third one that you referred to is looking for answers.
I feel like this is the most important thing, honestly.
Long term, yes, because frankly, all this is a losing battle. This is an apocalypse. This is the end. It's only a matter of time before the world succumbs. While those living in the cities might pretend everything is going to be okay, it just means they're going to be the last to go. They're not okay. Nowhere is safe. Even those who worship the pyramid, things are not going to end well for them. So the final thing is to look for answers, trying to figure out how this came about and how do we stop it. Not just killing individual occultists and fighting monsters, but how do we banish this thing? How do we send the pyramid back?
What is it, and how do we get out from under the shadow?
Yeah. Oh, how do we get out from under the shadow? Yes, exactly.
That kind of leads us into Robert's question here: is time to be big damn heroes! ! But can the players succeed? Which I guess from what you're saying, there's a glimmer of hope, but it's an uphill battle.
They can certainly try.
Yes, yes, you can certainly try. And honestly, it's a zine. It's 32 pages. Can you save the world in Call of Cthulhu?
Briefly.
For now. You can save these people. You can save this part of the world. Actually, there's the 2 ways I can see running the campaign. One is being very much about this group of people, where you are hometown heroes. The players have a base of operations, a place they call home. People they call their friends and family, and the campaign is around them protecting and supporting these people in the face of the apocalypse and horror. Um, the other option, of course, being the road warriors, where you're just murder hobos, but for good.
So it says here that there's new edges, new hindrances, new arcane backgrounds, new gear, and new enemies. That's actually quite a bit for a 32-page zine. Plus the setting and the guidelines for new adventures. Tell us about that introductory adventure.
No.
No. Okay. No
spoilers. No spoilers. No spoilers. No. Basically, there's it's a missing person case, and so the players are recruited to go find this missing person, and they end up in one of these towns, and so the part of the adventure is kind of exploring one of these isolated towns that's kind of halfway between between post-apocalyptic wasteland and everything is fine. No, really, it's kind of a twisted, evil parody of the idyllic small town America, where the cultists have taken over, and they're working on their own plans. It's up to the players to stop those plans and save the people. And I'm going to be running it for some patrons from my Patreon, hopefully next week.
That is awesome. So, Lafferty, I got to ask, that's a lot for a 32-page, isn't it?
That is a jam-packed zine, sir. That's a lot of quality for your money right there.
Yes, and I may end up regretting that.
It's only $6. If this sounds at all interesting to you, that's basically a hamburger. Go check it out.
Yeah, that could be your coffee order depending on your taste at Starbucks. So, yeah,
it's a very low price for a lot of stuff, and
it's cheaper than eggs, people. Cheaper than eggs, which is it's good to know that. So.
I love the setup. It's very Halloween. It's very the mist. I really dig it, and there is definitely that Lovecraftian vibe. But I also can see some of the elements you described from Half-Life making their way in, which is really neat. And it's wild that something can inspire you from 20 years ago as a video game, and you're like, this needs to be a thing. So yes. Well done. Do you have plans to expand on this at all, depending on how the Kickstarter goes?
Honestly, I'd love to, because the more I get into it and I start digging into what the setting is, because again, it's a zine. I don't really have room to go crazy with it. So here's what Chicago looks like, or it's like, here's broad strokes of the apocalypse is arriving on a continuum. Here's what it looks like. Here's half a page on 4 different stops along the continuum. And there's very broad strokes, but I think it would be a lot of fun to go into more detail on specific locations, also some of the specific cults. Because right now, I think there's just here's the big one that don't call them a cult. They are the Emergency Action Committee. They're what's filling in for government right now, and they have your best interests in mind. But there's a lot of room. I'd love to do more with it. If people are interested, we'll see how it goes.
I think he just answered our commenter's question.
More funds release more adventures, plot point campaign, a sequel zine or sequel zine. That is my first thought.
Hang on, if you don't mind, we need it's an audio medium, so I'm going to read aloud the comment, and then I'd like you to respond.
Thank you.
The comment is from Robert, and he says, "With the success of the Kickstarter, are there plans to release more adventures, or a plot point campaign, or a sequel zine?" Which is almost what I asked.
So. Right. Well, that's we'll see. I would love to do that. Like I said, my first thought was to do like a bigger, deeper thing, like I don't know, like a second edition, but now it's a real book. But doing follow-up zines, follow up, adventures, plot point things, does follow that mantra of keeping it simple, which, as we discussed, is a good idea. So that would probably be a smarter way to go. So, yes, if things go well, if people are interested.
Well, those are, follow-ups can be just the building blocks of a larger book. So.
Oh, sure. That's true. That's true.
You can always release a compilation later that puts a lot of zines into a bigger book. But I'm a big fan of small books with no swag and no stretch goals. Because you make the thing people want the thing, you avoid the siren call of, oh, I can make more stuff on this Kickstarter, and then you don't get to get on that treadmill of fulfilling stretch goals for the next year. So.
Yes, I'm resisting.
So I have to ask, Mike, what appeals to you about the setting the most?
I really like the idea of being a road warrior type in this kind of cosmic horror apocalypse. Fighting creepy cultist wizards at the local Waffle House when you're riding through town on a supply run. I think sounds like a lot of kind of twisted Americana fun. So that's probably how I would play it.
I have this weird idea, like almost like a Sons of Anarchy almost crossover, where we're like a bunch of bikers and we see this thing off to the east, and it's just constantly to the east, and we're like, let's get there. Let's actually go. Let's go on the road, just straight shot, and see if we can get to the pyramid and figure out what the hell it is.
Mm-hmm.
So
there you go.
Like Easy Rider, but like Lovecraft.
Actually, I love the biker gang. I think that would be so much fun.
It's kind of one of my go-tos for it's sort of a built-in trope that lends itself well to adventuring parties.
Yeah.
You guys have bikes, so you're going to go somewhere because you're bikers. Right on the road. And it's that's half the fight right there is you guys all work together. You wear the same uniform. Maybe you don't like each other, but you're all on the same team. It kind of sort of gets things set up. Hey, Robert has another question for us. Robert says, my Shadowrun group had a lot of fun turning our city into a cyberpunk version. I think that I have fun doing it. Oh, doing it for this. Same for this.
Oh, yeah. Like a how to pyramid your city.
Oh, yes. There, I'm gonna write that down right now. All right.
That's a great idea, Robert.
To pyramid your city. Yeah.
Well, I'm thinking about how to do that for Denver right now. How to make it a creepy apocalyptic cosmic horror kind of. I'm always going back to diners because I'm a fat guy who likes to eat. And I'm like, what's Denny's in this setting? But
the cultists obviously set up shop at Casa Bonita.
Right.
They have to fight with the luchador wizard in the basement.
But the gorilla is a real gorilla, or it's something gorilla-esque. A few more tentacles.
Ross and I just went to Casa Bonita a week or two ago. It was a great time. They are not a sponsor of this podcast yet, but I hardly endorse it. So.
Actually, did they still have the gorilla? Or gorilla?
They did. Yeah, they had a guy in a gorilla scene. But to get back to your product, much as I love Casa Bonita, yeah, it's got really creepy art. It's got a great theme. It's got a great idea. It's got everything you need to start playing, including 6 pre-generated characters and an intro adventure, and all the rules, except for the Savage Worlds stuff, which you obviously need Savage Worlds Adventure Edition. But if you have Savage Worlds Adventure Edition and you buy this, you're set. Yeah. And it's $6. I mean, like, that's a no-brainer. I absolutely back this, and I encourage everyone out there to at least look. I mean, it's $6, man. Just check it out. But it's a really great idea to kind of present something small like this and then build on it over time. So I'm kind of excited. I'm really excited, actually, to see how this turns out for you.
Me too.
Yeah, I think maybe this is what I'll do with my next Savage Worlds product is release it in small zine-sized increments, because it's been trying to write the big book's been killing me here for the last few months. So
it is already a success. It's a $700 out of 100. So please try to knock that number up. It's got over 2 weeks left to go.
Yep, you got plenty of time. tinyurl.com/underthepyramid will get you right there, folks. Today is the 8th of February. You've got over 2 weeks, like Ross said. So please check it out. Give Daryl a hand. Looks like a lot of fun. And Daryl, is the manuscript already written? Are you delivering as soon as the campaign ends, or is it further down the road? What's the plan on that?
It is not written. I mean, no. It is mostly written. Let me say, it is not finished. I will just say that. It is not finished. As I was looking at it, I'm like, oh, I need to add this, and I should really finish fleshing that part out. And then the adventure that I'm going to be writing needs to be actually written in such a way that other people can read it. I hear they like that.
Yeah.
And I should probably have somebody who isn't me give it a good read through and edit before I pull the trigger as well. So I pushed the delivery date out a few months just to give myself time for that. But it's mostly done.
But still, if someone's looking for a creepy savage one shot for the spooky season, this would
be great.
If you're planning ahead for Halloween, I absolutely recommend it because that looks like something I would like to run at Halloween. In fact, I might.
Well, we have hit 8:31 Mountain Time, and we've billed this show as Fun, Fast, and Furious. So
just like Savage Worlds.
Just like Savage Worlds. Daryl, any last thoughts?
Nope. Thanks for checking it out. Check out the Kickstarter.
Ross, I'll give you the closing words, sir.
Well, again, I just want to point out Daryl is not only a great guy, he's a hell of a writer. So do recommend you check it out because it's bound to be worth your time. And I'm already a backer. I am not only am I a member, I'm also the president. I've already backed this project, and I probably will run it at Halloween.
Sweet. All right. Well, hey, thanks, folks. We will catch you next time on Wild Cards.